All right, what is up? Oh, he's hatless. He's hatless. Oh, the audacity of being hatless. All right, what is up, everybody? Whole lot to talk about today, and of course, we got the old the Snoop cereal challenge. I do have all three flavors, so we will get to that at some point in this. And I've got the other one over there too. We've only got two hands so far. I haven't mutated yet for that third hand, but yeah. So we get to the first things first, and then we will jump in to the taste test and what all they look like. So I will run through the comments real quick because I'm pretty sure something's in there. Good evening, y'all, says Bumblebee and Wise Guy. Bumblebee says prayers for Ken and the entire Squire family as he begins the transition to the afterlife. What an amazing man and the dean of NASCAR television. Yes, so Ken Squire not doing good. He has been taken to hospice, so I'm not sure if he's gone yet, but he's definitely, according to all the experts, he's on his way, which is a bummer and kind of sucks. I'm pretty sure, and obviously I wore the Ken Squire shirt today. One of the best to ever do it. So, I mean, not really much more I can say about it other than it just kind of stinks. But, yeah, everybody I feel like is kind of bummed out about it. So, I guess we'll start off with that, and then we'll get into the other stuff because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to talk about that first. Doing all right, a little loose in turn 4, says B. I'm going to need 4 tires of fuel, says in between the lanes, maybe a Rowdy Energy. Rowdy Energy is pretty good, too. I might do a taste test on that one day. David McSwain, what's up, man? Sad day for the Squire family and those of us that had the pleasure of listening and seeing Ken for 50 years of sports. Rest in peace, and may God receive him with a smile. Yeah, I think that's how everybody feels, for sure. Obviously in hospice, not quite gone yet, but definitely on the way. So I think that's pretty much how everybody feels. It's such a bummer because it's just so much. He's one of those people that, like, you never really expect them. It sounds stupid to say this, but I'm going to say it. You never really expect him to die. He's just been around so long that you expect him to be one of those people that kind of you just never think they're going to die, and they do. Kind of like Bob Hope. Bob Hope was around forever. You never thought anybody else would host The Price is Right. Alex Trebek with Jeopardy. You just never imagine those people being gone. You know they're human. You know they're not, anything. I mean, I'm not talking about that. You just never think about them being gone. They're such an institution into what they've done. And that's very much, to me, what Ken Squire was. So I know he's up there in age, but it's still just so out of left field, as crazy as that sounds. But it is what it is. I do have the poll question up. OJ and Toothpaste says Ty Dillon is going into the playoffs next year. So who do you think is going to do best at college next year, allegedly? AJ in Xfinity, Josh Williams in Xfinity, Daniel Hemrick in Cup, or Ty Dillon in Cup. 12% for Ty Dillon right now. Ty Dillon Nation has rose up. Daniel Hemrick in Cup is at 19% and 12% for Josh Williams in Xfinity. 56% saying they're going with the dinger there. So there you go, 56% right now. Another terrible poll question for me, but I was curious to see. I was pretty sure AJ Allmendinger was going to win this, but I wanted to see where the others fell. And 19% for Hemrick right now, 12% apiece for Josh Williams and Ty Dillon. That's interesting. Let's see. And I said I've got the Snoop cereal here today. So here is the other. Now that I got this hand free, here is the other flavor. Of course, the Fruity Hoops. The Fruity Hoops with marshmallows or marshmallows, depending on how you say it. Let's see. Can't go wrong with Snoop Loops, says Aaron Flynn. That's a fact. That is a fact. And we're actually I'll show you what they look like. I've already taste tested them. I don't really want to eat on camera, but I guess I can sample them again. But I'll give you my review on them here in just a minute. By Baloney Burger to appear on NASCAR and NBC podcast, along with, let me say this, Kyle Petty. Yeah, maybe one day. Not anytime soon. Nobody has reached out just quite yet. Josh Williams must sell a lot of T-shirts. Didn't expect that one. Now I did see the dinger moving down. Yeah, it seems to be like a financial deal. I think they want to keep AJ Allmendinger in there. They just couldn't find the funding for him, so it's kind of a bummer. Bumblebee saying, I'm just amazed that my tribute post garnering 1,050 likes so far. I just never expected that much attention for simply speaking a tribute to someone. Yeah, Ken Squire, it's one of those people that he doesn't really get talked about a lot because he is super humble. From what I understand, I've never met him. I don't know him or anything like that. But he just seems like a super humble guy. And so it's not somebody that you often talk about. But when he does, when you realize that he might be leaving us, that's when it sort of pours out. And the only thing I can really have to relate this to is I never knew how much I liked Alan Kawicki, and I never knew how much I liked Davey Allison until the moment that they weren't there anymore. And those are two people that I was very young, but I actually cried for both of them when they moved on, just out of the blue, because like I never thought Davey would leave, and very much the same. I didn't cry about Ken Squire because he's not gone yet, quite. But it definitely caught me off guard. I was like, "Holy crap!" I had no idea. Like the last I heard of Ken Squire, he had a stroke and he was recovering from it pretty well. But I never knew that he had taken a turn for the worse. So it really caught me out of the blue. Like I said, he's just somebody that has been around for so long that you just never expect them to be gone. Let's see. Ty Dillon couldn't make the playoffs in Mario Kart, says Ben Kubler. Maybe not. There was something about Mario Kart being one of the hardest or most stressful video games, the most stressful racing video game. I forgot who did the study. I need to look it up and find out. Off season, we can do a story like that, right? Let's see here. Bologna Burger to make back-to-back appearances on both the Rich Eisen as well as Dan Patrick show. Man, let me tell you something. I used to watch the ever-living mess out of those shows like 2010. I was working at Duke, I was going to school and working at Duke. So I was this is back when they were on like the regular, the 101. I don't know if anybody remembers that had DirecTV. But they would just play them over and over on the 101. So I would check them out all the time, man. Those two great shows. I love both of those shows. Howdy from the Great White North. I ate some mushrooms for depression, so I will mostly be listening, says Robin Marks. Hey, whatever you got to do, my friend, to get by day to day. I am no judge here. Let's go. Josh Williams says oh, by the way, there are if you're a member, there are other icons now. I finally got those designed and uploaded. So I listened to you, and I finally figured out how to put some more on there. So there's some more on there now. Enjoy the ride, Robin, says Bumblebee. Evening to all, says Mark Barnum. Have a fun trip, says Robin. That says one wise guy too, Robin, I should say. You should do a beer taste test. All that cheap crap beer, LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. I can do a taste test. I just can't do anything further with that particular substance on here. But a taste test would be acceptable via YouTube guidelines. So we might can set that up. All the beverages that are no longer in NASCAR, we can try them all. Let's see. One wise guy saying, "What's up to Mark?" Laughing my butt off. I can't believe you got the Snoop cereal, the one with the dog on it. I think they've all got dogs on it. I think this is just like maybe an Aikido or something. And this one's maybe a golden retriever here, like a cinnamon toast crunch, or cinnamon toasties, cinnamon sizzle toast dizzle. That's like a marketing name they missed off there. Like I'm disappointed none of these have Izzle in them, and Fruity Hoops. So there's no Izzle. Like Snoop is pretty famous for putting the Izzle on stuff, so there's no Izzle here. It is interesting. His real name is Calvin Brogus, so Brogus Foods. So that's pretty cool. This is manufactured by Post, by the way. Snoop cereal, Brogus Foods. It's him and Master P that put this deal together. So pretty good. We'll jump into that in just a minute though. I feel like Josh Williams has actual talent. This is peak NASCAR content. This is peak NASCAR content. Know that. Just know that. Let's see. I feel like Josh Williams has actual talent. I agree with you there, B. I saw him outrun Frank Kimmel and ARCA to win Nashville one year. He definitely has talent and can do something with Colleague. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And if anybody needs to be worried, it has to be Ryan Blaney, because the better he gets, the more opportunities in Cup he's going to get. And then Ryan Blaney is going to need a spotter, right? So that's going to be an interesting deal to figure out there. Barney Hall would also be in that category, says Dirty Death, for sure. Basically, anybody that was on MRN radio in the 90s, I never imagined them leaving us, you know. Thank you guys. I'm fine. Once I took a heroic dose by accident, I mixed up my grams and ounces, says Robin Marks. What's up, Duke Chronic? Good to see you on here, my friend. Anybody know if anyone took the number 38 Ford F-150 out of Front Row Motorsports stable seat was taken yet? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is over there. Who's going to replace who over there? But I'm pretty sure we'll find out. I haven't heard any rumors or anything like that, so I'm pretty sure we'll find out in the off season pretty rapidly. Once one domino falls, all the rest of them will fall for Xfinity and trucks and all that good stuff. I did see where Kyle Weatherman is going to the 91, so he'll be over there in the 91 full-time, so full-time ride for Kyle Weatherman. The third or fourth best Kyle, depending on how you judge it, in the traveling series right now. Chrome Diesel, what's up? Good to see you on here, my friend. How do you think Carson is going to do in the 77 in 2024? Oh, that is a loaded question, Duke Chronic. That's a great question. I don't know how much they're going to improve over there is probably my biggest concern. I know they're going to improve. They're going to get more money put in. The Trackhouse Alliance is going to help them. The level of those cars is going to go up. I just don't know how high that level of those cars are going to go up. And also, you got two rookies. And even for Corey LaJoie, it's going to be a different experience. You saw Corey LaJoie when he jumped in that 9 car. Driving that 9 car and driving a good car is way different than driving a bad car. So, once again, Corey LaJoie is going to have to relearn how to drive like a good car, even though the 9 car, in my opinion, wasn't set up good that race that he got to drive it. But you get what I'm driving at here. In a way, you're just going to have to relearn how to drive things, because a good setup car, which he typically doesn't have from his results. So it's just going to be a toss-up. I think it's going to be a growing year. I very much expect them to have. I think they'll be like a little bit better than Legacy. They'll probably have like a front row motorsports type of year. That would be my guess. They might get a win here or there, and other than that, they'll probably be top 10 to top 15 in most situations is what I'm thinking they're sort of be running around at. But that's a good question. I don't really know how to answer that one. There's so many variables there. I just watched Brian Deegan race EV Nitro Cross cars in Phoenix. It's on the Deegan's YouTube channel. Hey, there you go. The Nitro Cross. Oh, you remember, what was it called? Nitro Circus back in the day? I think that was Travis Pastrana's deal. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, Travis Pastrana was the exact opposite of the Metal Militia, but you know what I'm driving at there. Do you think Suarez should worry if he doesn't perform next season? Trackhouse has more drivers than seats. So yeah, that's something that gets brought up every year. So like the reason that people are talking about pressure being on him this year is because Shane Van Gisbergen said he wants to be in Cup by 2025. So once again, people are immediately assuming that Daniel Suarez is on the hot seat. So I feel like every single season Suarez has been in Cup except for maybe his rookie year. I feel like he's been on the hot seat. So just another year for Daniel Suarez on the hot seat. But I think Daniel Suarez is a good talent. I wouldn't bail out on him and give up on him just yet. I think, and Trackhouse is clever, so Trackhouse will find a way to work around it. So I don't know. If you find a way possible to keep all 3, I think you keep all 3, in my opinion. So maybe they can figure out a way to make that work where they keep all 3, because that would be the best case scenario, is my thoughts on it. Brendan Poole got a full-time Xfinity ride, number 44, Alpha Prime. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I saw that a couple, or maybe it was a rumor, but yeah, I heard about that a couple weeks ago. So that's awesome. He finally got locked up for a full season, so that's good news. Earlier on than he normally probably would get locked up for a full season. That's a really cool deal for sure. Mr. Pearson, what's up, my friend? And cheers to you as well. In between the lanes, the NASCAR EV looked interesting since it resembles a SUV crossover, even if it's just a show vehicle. And look, I think it's a great idea. First off, it's not aimed to be a cup car, and I like the fact that they're entertaining markets that may be emerging. I'm not saying EV is going to emerge or anything like that, but SUVs have emerged. There are more people driving SUVs right now than anything else, or crossovers, whatever you want to call them, than anything else. So for NASCAR to be interested in that market is actually pretty smart, because once I'm long gone from this planet, like, people like me will no longer exist. They will no longer care about cars. They will want to see SUVs raced. So they're tapping into that younger market that will be there when I'm moving on. So I do think it's smart from NASCAR to have a series like that. Just like I thought it was smart for them to have a truck series back in the day, it is smart for them to have some type of SUV series. It just makes perfect sense. Now, whether or not it's electric or anything else, I could care less about that, because by the time NASCAR goes EV or hybrid or whatever, most people will already be driving those, so it won't be as big a deal as it seems right now. So, but NASCAR has to stay on top of it and at least investigate it. Maybe he will finish higher than last. EV, says Mark Barnum. Your RCR lunch and post was funny. Yeah, so NASCAR Chasm, I think, put out a post of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know, when they throw Jazzy Jeff out the front door, he put Sheldon Creed farewell dinner or something like that, farewell luncheon, and it just shows him getting thrown out the door. So I thought that was pretty funny. A good play on the situation over there that happened earlier this season or later in the year with RCR. Was that at Martinsville? Martinsville, yeah. Like dislike, I've been voting for Josh Williams for most popular in Xfinity. He won me over with the parking walk. Says like dislike. I think he won a lot of people over for sure. Napa Racing fans saying prayers up to Ken Squire for sure. For sure, everybody has Ken in their thoughts and prayers. You won't tell much about the Carson from the Clash, Daytona, Atlanta. We'll have to learn. Wait till Phoenix, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, the first half of the season is probably going to be a wash for that whole team. Daniel Suarez has a reputation of not playing nice, but he is Pitbull's guy, says Duke Chronic. I mean, he's got like him and Ross Chastain to me are very similar. They're not going to move over. They're going to do their job and try to win races and get the best finish they can get. So I think they're two peas in a pod, and I think they both fit the culture over there. And I think SVG is going to be a similar type of guy. SVG is a guy that goes for it, so I think he's going to fit in. Like I'm saying, I hope they can keep all three. It fits the culture of what they do over there. Also, Zane Smith into that mix at Trackhouse. Yeah, so Zane Smith is at the Spire. He is partially Spire, partially Trackhouse. That's sort of a collaborative deal. So that's what I'm saying. If Trackhouse can get creative and find a way to keep SVG in that mix somehow, as well as Suarez, find some way to move the shell game. Maybe rent a charter from Rick Ware Racing or something. Like they'll find some way to do it. I think it's a good idea to keep everybody they got because everybody they got, I think, has potential. Chris Wright running full ARCA season with Venturini in 2024. So there you go. Chris Wright going to run the full ARCA deal. He got to win at Sonoma. I'd keep Suarez as one wise guy. I would too. I'm big on Suarez. He really impressed me at Martinsville. He's not a guy that comes from late models. And for him, a late model is a strange car to drive. For him to jump in a late model and be as naturally good as he is, it makes me think he's one of those guys that can just jump in whatever he jumps in and get pretty much like 80 or 90% of the way there. And then he'll figure out the rest of it the longer he stays in it. BB, have you ever thought about going on the Kyle Petty charity ride, says Delmar Kaufman? I would love to go on it. I typically don't think it's a good idea for me to get on a motorcycle the way I like to live my life. So, but maybe I could ride along in a support vehicle for one of the stages or something like that. But it would be a cool deal to do for sure. One wise guy, weird. What I asked about SUVs in NASCAR a few weeks back. Yeah, I had heard rumors, or when they talked about the electric series originally, there were rumors about it being an SUV electric series. So those rumblings had been there for a while, but nothing was confirmed. And the fact that it was confirmed, and you did ask about it the other week, and it finally got confirmed the other week, that's pretty cool. It's sort of like if they ever released all the information on Area 51 and everybody was just right about everything. That's kind of what I thought about. But yeah, for sure, I did think about you when they actually released the SUV or crossover or whatever they call it these days version of it. Ford only makes one car, that being the Mustang, says Delmar Kaufman. And Chevrolet only makes one car, that being the Malibu. So interesting times we're living in. In the United States, they only make one car. Overseas, they still make some other smaller cars. SUV Ford does SUV racing series in the future? Question mark. Says Napa Racing fan. It might be, and it would be interesting to see what NASCAR does with that. If it would be a circle track deal, or if it would be something else. So that's another thing. Soccer Mom Van Racing Series, says Mark Barnum. Hey, look, don't knock it. Don't knock it till you've watched it race. Like let's not knock it till you see it race. This is the same things a lot of people said about the Truck Series when the Truck Series first came in. They were like, why would I want to watch a truck race when they got these cars? Like you hear stuff like that all the time. Don't knock it until you see it race, because when the Truck Series first came in, it was some of the best racing, man. You had Mike Skinner, Jack Sprague, you had all those Ron Hornaday, you had all those dudes going for it. The Truck Series on a lot of occasions outshined the Cup Series for a long time until recently, when you got people in there that just didn't give a crap. Can you leak a little Fiat project info? And is there a wing involved? As of right now, there's not a wing involved, and that's because of the rules that I'm going to race the car in. But basically, I'm trying to have a race car that makes money, and that's all you get. That's all you get. I'm hoping to get the first video out next week on it, but we'll have to see. I still have to go get the title finalized and all that good stuff. Did you know Creed is leaving RCR, says Robin Marks? Yeah, I did. I heard about that. First project update should be on Discord to grow it, says Mark Barnum. That might be something I can think about doing. Fiat, says Mark Barnum. SVG and Trackhouse caught lightning in a bottle at Chicago. It was definitely the right situation, but I called that. I called him to be the winner of that race. I totally called that. because you're right. It was the perfect situation. Nobody in the Cup Series had ever driven on a street course. He had more experience than anybody in the field on a street course in a car that was similar to an Australian V8 supercar. So, yeah, I don't know about lightning in a bottle because I think SVG is super talented. But, yes, I think that was the perfect situation where he actually had a little bit of an advantage experience-wise there. So I do agree with you on that. Has anything come out about the test they had? I haven't heard anything about it yet. I don't know if they've had it yet. I think it's going to be after. I think it's going to be after the awards show or something. I have to go back and look at the date. They should still try the steam engine route for the new engine package, says OJ and Toothpaste. Steam engine is an option. Unfortunately, when steam engines go wrong, they go really wrong, really bad. And I wouldn't want to be sitting in the crowd when that day happens. Same thing with electrics. And I think that's part of the reason they haven't raced the electrics yet. BB, you flying to the Vegas F1 race Thursday, says OJ and Toothpaste. I would, man, but I forgot where I parked my helicopter. Had a wild night on Saturday, and I can't remember where I parked that rascal. If I can find it though, I'll come scoop you up. And we'll head that way. Chrome Diesel, it would be. I don't have enough money to ever go to an F1 race, so obviously I'm joking there. But I would love to go. It would be fitting to bring back the Goodies Dash series while using the EV race car. You would never see one human being wearing more Ferrari stuff than you would see me at an F1 race. Chrome Diesel, it would be fitting to bring back the Goodies Dash series while using that EV race car. Yeah, that is a good point. It would work perfectly for the Goodies Dash series, and the Goodies Dash series was really fun back in the day too. So yeah, good point. If you watch Landon Huffman, Robert Huffman's his dad used to be the man in the Goodies Dash series. If you remember that yellow apple cider car, he drove that car. Iconic car. If you know the car, that's who the driver was. So Landon Huffman, who's got the YouTube channel about the late model stuff, that was his dad driving the yellow Apple car. Denny Hamlin's birthday is this Saturday, November 18th. Says in between the lanes. There you go. Wish old Denny a happy birthday on the 18th. Would have been cool with the old Blazers and Jimmys. Says one wise guy. Yeah. So imagine that, like the old Chevy Blazer and then the Ford Explorer, like the one before they made it like this big, huge monstrosity that it is now. Back when they were like S10 and Ford Ranger size vehicles, that would have been a fun series to have for sure, especially the two-door versions of each of those. Trackhouse is going to have to get a third charter. Chris Rice said his next driver was racing a late model at Florence last weekend. Says Dirty Def. Oh, so there you go. So there you go. He's leaking. Chris Rice leaking a little info there. BB was the truck final 4 race this year, the best race of the year, says OJ and Toothpaste. On Earth 2, it's going to be hard to argue that any race will beat that on Earth 2. So on Earth 2, for sure. I'm trying to think. Maybe Indianapolis when they had to change the tires every 10 laps. Indianapolis is the only one I can think of all time that would even touch it. But for this year, for sure. Did you catch the Ford E-Van entry at Pikes Peak Hill Climb, says Tim Brace? I didn't know they were building it for Pikes Peak, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's a van, the electric E-Van. It's a van. It looks more like a prototype race car. That thing is absolutely going to rip. So, yeah, that Ford van, good call, Tim Brace. I don't know. I'll try to find a picture of that and put it up on the Discord and put it up on the YouTube, like the little YouTube pictures you can post. Yeah, that thing absolutely rips. That thing's going to be nasty for sure. Hi, fellas and ladies, says Roofer. What's up, Roofer? Says one wise guy. BB, that's better. What's better, Chipotle or El Pollo Loco? I'm going to have to go with I've never been to El Pollo Loco, so I'm going to have to go with Chipotle. Or Chipotle. I say Chipotle to be funny, just like when I order chicken fajitas, you got to call them chicken vagitas. Like it's just, there's rules to this game. Let's see, NASCAR race the EV on Thursday, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, so that's another thing you could do. Like you could branch into that market where you're racing during the week. All kinds of options when you have more series. So I do like that. I do like that option. Denny has a video where he talks about how much he loves Ross, a new compilation. I saw that because at first he goes through the whole process of it. And I didn't catch the title of it, and I was like, why is he talking about Ross Chastain again? Like, I was like, did he wait for the off season to start this up? But then I watched the whole rest of it, and he was just doing the evolution of their relationship. So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool off season content. I got to give him credit for that. What I would worry about that the EV prototype is a rear wing is if they try super speedway racing, says Chrome Diesel. Oh, for sure, for sure. The rear wing is an absolute nuisance when you get to cup style stuff, circle tracks, long straightaways, because if somebody gets turned around backwards, oh, it's going to be a bad day. I mean, we saw that with the car tomorrow, right? So we know the deal. NASCAR Cup fans know the deal. I missed the Goodies Dash Series racing at Daytona during speed weeks. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool at Charlotte, too, because they would just get up and draft the whole time at Charlotte, and then at the very end, it would just break and go crazy, sort of like a go-kart race at Ace Speedway, if you've ever seen one of those. You can check it out on their YouTube channel if you want to check that out. They got some go-kart races, and they just draft the whole time, and then at the very end, they just all, like, fly apart, and it looks pretty crazy. It's a van down by the river, says in between the lanes. I was at the Indy 400 tire blowout race 2008. So 2008, that's when it was. There's a Jeff Gordon interview with Joe Buck where Gordon admits that NASCAR told Ray back in the 90s to stop stinking up the show. Yeah, Ray was cheating pretty heavily back then, but they couldn't catch him. So if they can't catch you, just keep cheating, right? BB, did you watch the or getting creative, whatever you want to call it? BB, did you watch the conversation with Dale Jr.? I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch. He's talking about the. In case you haven't seen it, Kenny Wallace has a good long conversation with Dale Jr. I haven't seen that one yet, and I haven't seen the full Kevin Harvick and Dale Jr. combo. So I've got to sit down and catch both of those. That wing might have a DRS deal, says Duke Chronic. Believe it or not, I feel like I'm busier in this off season trying to catch up on stuff than any other time during this year. I've got like 4 projects that I'm currently working on actively, and I still haven't seen the full Kevin Harvick interview, and I still haven't seen the Dale Jr. and Kenny Wallace interview. I feel like I'm so far behind, and I'm like, this is the off season. There's not really supposed to be that much going on. I feel like I'm drowning. That wing might have the DRS deal, says Duke Chronic. I think if you have a wing in Cup, you would have to have some type of DRS. BB, should the next gen, or even better, just have it reversed the other way if it starts lifting, and so it lifts down or drags you down with downforce. BB, should the next gen bring back the COT wing? I mean, I like the COT wing. I thought it was awesome. Everybody else hated it, so you're asking the wrong person. I always like the COT wing. That's why I bought a bunch of COT cars. You'll see a few of them right there. Google Bus runs 100% electric, and it broke down and rolled back and took out a bunch of parked cars in San Francisco, says one wise guy. Boy, San Francisco can't catch a break right now. I'll tell you what. And I'm going to leave it at that because it gets super. I'm not going to touch it because that's just not a topic I need to touch on a racing channel. But I'll leave it. San Francisco can't catch a break right now. At least we beat the Jaguars in football. So there you go. There's a positive for San Francisco. Can we get the holidays over so we can get back to racing? Says Delmar Kaufman. They'll come and go before you know it. I promise you that. Is the Fiat legal as a Beagle now? I've still got to get the title work sorted out. But yeah, it's in my possession, and we will be racing it. But part of it is it's got to be whatever. Part of it is it's going to be a street car and a race car, so I do have to get the title figured out. Otherwise, I just wouldn't have cared about the title and just made it a race car. But I've already got a project with a Nissan that you guys will see, which is I've got more projects than I'm thinking about working on right now. So yeah, I feel like I'm swimming and drowning. Not swimming very well. I feel like I'm drowning. BB, would the steam engine be a huge problem if it blew up? Says OJ. It might have an issue. You should. There's videos on YouTube of steam engines blowing up. You should check them out. It's not the greatest thing in the world. I would have fear about an EV fire, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, me too. That's what I was talking about. EVs, steam engines, they're going to have very similar problems if something goes wrong. As a California native, San Francisco brings it on itself, says one wise guy. SF is a hit show, says Ken Hatchett. I was in a door bumper clear binge watch recently, says In Between the Lanes. Yeah, I haven't caught up on any of their stuff. Honda is bringing back the Prelude. I did see where Honda is bringing back the Prelude, and to go back to that picture, that NASCAR EV thing, to me, it looks just like a Honda Civic. And so that leads more credence, in my opinion, that maybe Honda is interested, because if you look from the front glass, not the nose so much, but if you look at the front glass and back, it looks like a 2-door Honda Civic, which they did make. Or you could also, if you look at the nose part of it, it kind of looks like a Hyundai. I don't even know what they call those things. Veloster, maybe a Hyundai Veloster or something like that. So I could see both of those being kind of what NASCAR had in mind when they were making them. Isn't telling the competitor to stop stinking up the show, race manipulation. For sure, Bo Darvel, but it's NASCAR, so they can do what they want. BB, is it truly better for the world to go green and have everyone go all electric? Says OJ Toothpaste. There's no such thing as as completely going green unless we get rid of electricity, period. So unless everybody wants to take a 6-month crash course in bushcraft or something, I don't think there's any way to actually go green. And even with that many people, if you went green that way, would there even be enough trees left for all the forest fires that we're going to get started from people not knowing what they're doing? So I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. I'm just here for NASCAR. I can't answer the problems of the world as far as that goes. The back hatch does look like a Honda. That's exactly what I was looking at. And the front part sort of looks like a Hyundai to me. I believe 2024 marks the arrival of the hybrid in IndyCar. So yeah, that's something we should definitely keep a close eye on as far as the NASCAR stuff goes. And it looks like we got a little break in the comments. So we're going to go to the first one here, which is the Snoop cereal frosted drillers or what? Whoa, let me get this right. Frosted drizzlers. Can't read, so that's on me. But like I said, like Drizzlers, like I feel like that would be good because he likes to put the izzle in there. So Drizzlers, and so if you're into frosted mini wheats, this is kind of what they look like, sort of a frosted deal. That's let's see, what do I have for? So here we go. We got the Rodney Combs Holcomb Matchbox. So if you need to see what size it is about 1/3 of a Matchbox, I would say. Maybe 1/4. I don't know how you want to judge that, but it's pretty good. And there's nothing more entertaining than a YouTube douche eating on camera while they're live streaming. So let me join that group. And these are pretty good. Now, obviously, you want to leave. My move is to leave them in the milk until they soften up because they are kind of rough. But if you like frosted mini wheats, these are definitely a solid option. I don't like frosted mini wheats though, so I don't know. I feel like they taste the exact same, so I have to put them on par. So I would go with frosted mini wheats 5 out of 5. If you don't like frosted mini wheats, I'm going to give them a 3.5 out of 5. So there you go. They executed the flavor perfectly. I just don't. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite as a cereal. Period. So now we got the cinnamon toasties. The cinnamon toasties. So these are going to be. What is the cinnamon? It says cinnamon toast crunch. These are going to be similar to cinnamon toast crunch, and these. They're sort of like, I got a mutant one. Let me get a normal size one. So these are like this big. So like, the size of a cinnamon toast crunch, except, a little bit more golden. And I like cinnamon. So these are the bomb. 6 out of 5. I like these a lot. Once again, leave them in the milk for a little while. Let them get soft. But they definitely have a lot of crunch. If you like your cereal crunchy, they're definitely thebomb.com. Now here's where we get into the real magic. This is the real magic here. The Fruity Hoops with marshmallows. Now, obviously these are based on Fruit Loops, right? And we've been living in the 1900s, the late 1900s, really, because we've just been eating Fruit Loops, right? Fruit Loops are good. Follow your nose. Fruit Loops are banging. But then Snoop Dogg and Master P are absolute geniuses because they said, what if we took Fruit Loops and added Lucky Charms marshmallows in there? And I'm not going to lie to you. When I first saw this, I was like, that's going to be too much. That's going to be too much. I've never been so wrong in my entire life. This is probably the best cereal as far as like sugary cereals that I've ever had. The marshmallows make all the difference. I thought the marshmallows were going to be too much. 1,000 out of 5. Like, these are the best. These are the best. So if you get Snoop cereal, this is the one you want to get. By far the best one. All right. That is high quality NASCAR content, and I will not hear otherwise. All right, back to NASCAR content. Bo Darvel, the Flintstones totally had green cars way back in the day. Total trailblazer. Yeah, so Fred's feet are the only green car. BB, I had the cash. I would do a Rambler project and put a Coyote engine in it. That would be awesome. I don't know if you guys saw where the dude took a Tesla and put did he put like a Hellcat engine in it? He took a Tesla and put a Hellcat engine in it, and nobody will touch it because they don't want to get attacked by the green people. But it was in I think it was in Motor Trend magazine. It was awesome. It was an awesome build. It looked pretty rad too. BB, maybe we can go back to racing NASCARs and the Flintstone type vehicles. That would be pretty cool. So that's another series we could get into. It would be like we could have like Lance Armstrong drive the pace car. That'd be pretty cool. What's up, everyone? Live Strong. Remember when everybody had the Live Strong bracelets? Just finished taking my antifreeze bath. My radiator blew out on my Jeep. Daggum engineers suck, says T-Van. Man, I feel your pain on that one, dude. There is nothing worse, freaking nothing worse than a car overheating and then you having to wait for it to put fluid back in. Then you got to go find a hose to put the hose back on first before you can even get any fluid in there. That's a rough deal, man. I feel your pain. What is the Winston Museum shutting down? I couldn't wrap my head around them going to auction. Yeah, so they've been in this multi-year fight with the former RJ Reynolds. I forget what RJ Reynolds is called now. It's something brands, IG something, IGH brands or something like that. Or IHG brands. So they've been in a fight over the name for a long time. Basically, they've taken them to court so long that they've drained a lot of money out of it. And now they're basically just out of money to rebrand, to change their name or anything like that. So they're going to go out of business. I'll tell you what, though, I've accelerated what I have to do. So I've added them to my project. I'm going to go up there and try to get, I got to get it cleared with them. Hopefully they'll work with me. I'm sure they will. But I'm going to go up there and at least get some content so you guys can at least see what the Winston Cup Museum looked like, because that is a relatively short drive for me. So, yeah, unfortunate that they got to go under because it's a great museum. If you live near it, I would highly recommend going and checking it out. Baloney Burger, NASCAR YouTuber and food reviewer says in between the lanes. Hi, here we go. Taste test, says OJ and Toothpaste. You should try Wrapper Chips from Sam's Club. I've had the, what's it called? Something with a dab of ranch. Like I had the one with a dab of ranch. That one's pretty good. So that was Wrap Snacks, I think is what they're called. But that one was pretty good. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. Says in between the lanes. Delmark Hoffman watched the Petty Brothers episode on the 83 Daytona 500. Both Petty cars blew the motor because Unical oil needed an additive added to prevent the oil from foaming, says Delmark Hoffman. That's the worst. That's the worst for sure. Ken Hatchett, I had Cocoa Puffs last night. So, yeah, so my hack, if you like Cocoa Puffs, but you want to be sort of healthy, get the chocolate soy milk and then pour it into regular Cheerios, and it tastes like Cocoa Puffs. There you go. There's your food hack for the day. Worst cereal ever was Grape Nuts. I'll tell you what was a good one, though. I don't think they even make it anymore. Clusters was a really good cereal. I haven't seen it in forever. Baloney Burger reviewing food. I would watch that. Says in between the lanes. None of those can touch peanut butter Captain Crunch. Hey, Captain Crunch, that's the next one. I bet Snoop is working on a recipe as we speak. I bet he's out there testing formulas. He's going to come up with Captain Snoop's Crunch, and I bet it's going to have something for Captain Crunch. What if he made a Captain Crunch that didn't destroy the roof of your mouth? I would buy Snoop cereal if he could figure that out. Is it better than a honeycomb cereal? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I do like it better than honeycomb. I gotta give it a tip of the hat to honeycomb. Thanks again for doing the Snoop cereal stream. No problem, man. Like if you guys have like reasonable requests that I can do on my small desk space here, we'll try to make it. I'll try to make it happen. Should Jimmy Johnson run next season? Harvick said on the Dale Jr. download he couldn't do a part-time Cup because he would finish no better than 30th. Besides plate tracks, reminded me of Jimmy. Says they're deaf. Yeah, I think Harvick's just I think he was just giving himself a way out. He wouldn't finish 30th in a Cup race. Like the way to do it is to do it early in the season before everybody's got a bunch of repetitions. So if you're going to be a fill-in driver or something like that, do it early in the season or do it at a track that you know you're really good at. And do it with a team that you know is good at the same track that you're really good at. That would be my part-time. If you want to be a part-time race car driver in these days, that's what I would do. So I still think Jimmy Johnson can pull off some good runs. I met Lance Armstrong a couple times when riding Ragbri Says Mark Barnum. Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure where that's at, but he did used to travel around Boone and stuff like that. He practiced quite a bit near Appalachian State back in the day, and I think he still does run some races around that area. He seems like a pretty cool guy, to be honest. Like, he wasn't the only one cheating. He just happened to be the one that won. He won all those titles. He wasn't ever going to admit he was cheating. Like everybody else, it is what it is. Bad situation. I feel like overall he's a good dude, but he just he was not gonna fess up to saying what happened, because I don't think he feels like he did anything wrong. Because I think he thinks in his mind, not justifying it, but I think he thinks in his mind everybody else was cheating too. So what? I'm pretty sure that's like, if you could just get him to sit down and talk about it, like real talk, I think that's pretty much what he would say. Fried bologna and Snoop hoops for breakfast in the morning. It's a breakfast of champions, Aaron Flynn. Breakfast of champions, or lunch of champions, or dinner of champions. It's delicious. I mean, anyone remembers Berry Kicks? Oh yeah, Kicks was pretty good, man. Especially the berry. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Captain Crunch with crunch berries, like that's a legit one too. So Snoop Dogg has a cereal. Surprise, it's not grass flavored. Says Delmar Kaufman. I think he's got gummies too. So I think he's got the grass side of it covered for sure. What's up, say Kyle? Good to see you on here, my friend. BB, do you think Jimmy Johnson, the number 84, will win a race next year? Highly unlikely, but I can't put it past him. Registers annual great bike race across Iowa. So, okay, so there you go. I got you. That's a new one on me. But yeah, so he raced at that one. I also knew he lives, I think, in Texas still, but he did a lot of his training post cancer at Appalachian State, or around Appalachian State was where he had his team up there. So I do remember that. Lance was a beast. And the only reason I remember that is because I was at Appalachian State at that time. Lance was, or the Ford dealership at least. They were all cheating. He deserves all those W's, says Bo Darville. I can't disagree with you. Like, I can't condone the cheating. The cheating was wrong, but like, everybody was doing it. Sort of like the baseball home runs deal. Just put an asterisk beside it. Just make it a separate part of the Hall of Fame. Just be like, hey, during these years, everybody was juiced to the gills, and that's why they got these numbers. But we're still going to give them the record. We're just going to let you know that they were juiced to the gills. I'm okay with that because you got the full context. So I feel like that's fair. You remember Kaboom cereal? Says, I don't remember Kaboom. Kaboom is that one's lost on me. I'll have to Google that one. 51st year of the this year, says Mark Barnum. Talking about the Iowa deal. The I ran 5Ks. I've even got a second place trophy somewhere. Evidence of that, because I know with my current situation, everybody's like, that guy is completely full of it. So I'll have to post a picture of that. But yeah, for sure. I used to run, but I never really got into biking. I lived in the city though, and there was a green trail, so we used to bike to the mall and to some other places to eat. But I had a cruiser. I didn't have like one of those fancy bikes. Snoop talking about Willie Nelson always cracks me up. Says Tim Brace, yes. Willie Nelson is apparently the guy that outdoes them all as far as that deal goes. Wimmy Watson is done. Cheating Chad won those 7 championships anyway, says Blue Ridge Cat. So that's, a lot of people feel like that. I feel like all NASCAR is a total team sport. I feel like Jimmy Johnson's a good driver. Obviously, Chad Canals is a good crew chief. You can't really name one driver that had a bad crew chief and won a title. So you got to have both all the time. So I feel like they're both good, but for whatever reason, I don't know. Jimmy Johnson, a lot of people don't want to give him any credit. But, you know, it is what it is. Pull for who you want to pull for. But I think Jimmy Johnson's a good driver. Chad Canal is obviously a good crew chief. I'm trying to think of a driver that didn't have a good crew chief, because I'm sure somebody is going to chime in here and be like, oh, such and such won it with this guy, and this guy was never a good crew chief. I don't know. I can't think of one. All the guys I can think of had good crew chiefs as well. BB, do you really honestly think Ray Evernham and Chad Canals cheated? Says OG Toothpaste. Hell, I don't think. I know they cheated. Like they've both been caught cheating. So yes, I know they cheated. But it is what it is. Like, everybody, they weren't alone in it. They just did the best cheating. Everybody in that era that was winning races was cheating. Period. I'm not taking anything away from them. Everybody was cheating back then. 2013, and I'll tell you the best story from like short track racing is, I know that guy's cheating because he's outrunning my motor, and my motor's cheated up. So I know he's cheating. That's basically like, you know, everybody's cheating because you're cheating too. 2013, I rode from Portland. So you don't protest them. You out cheat them. That was the mantra, in my opinion, back then. 2013, I rode from Portland to San Francisco on Highway 101, says Mark Barnum. There you go. There you go. That's awesome, dude. Hills of San Francisco, man. That must have been a from Portland. Oh, so you ended in San Francisco. Golly, you ended with some hills, man. Let's see. BB, hopefully Snoop Cereal can sponsor I hated hills. Running, biking, I hated hills. I hated a hill. Still hate a hill. I drive my car on a hill today. I hit the gas because that's how much I hate the hill. BB, hopefully Snoop Cereal can sponsor a cup car full time one day. That would be awesome. I'll tell you what. Every version of the diecast I would try to have. Did Larry Mack ever get caught? Says one wise guy. I don't know that he did. I can't think of the time. I'll have to go back. Like, it's been a long time ago. If he did get caught, I would assume he got caught with either Ricky Rudd or Davey Allison, because I don't remember him ever getting caught with Senior or anybody like that. Jimmy Johnson's great, but some people weren't as impressed with the point system when he won it. Still won them, but I don't think every title should be viewed the same. So yeah, if you want to go by that, like if you go by it's not fair. It's not apples to apples because people would have raced different. I mean, I get the argument, but if you want to go like old Winston Cup style point system, Jimmy Johnson has he has 3 titles. Kevin Harvick has 4, and Jeff Gordon has 7. Kenny said Junior holds the keys to NASCAR. Do you think NASCAR would be better if Junior was running the show? It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. You would be hard pressed to find somebody to run it worse than the group that's running it right now, in my opinion. And I know that I probably will never get invited to a track, but I'm just giving my honest opinion. Smokey, they won't. My issue with them is not what they try. I like the fact that they try things. It's the fact that they won't listen to the overwhelming majority of the fan base when they want. They don't. We're not saying get rid of the playoffs. We're saying just do something with the playoffs that makes more sense than one race. And they just refuse to listen. It was really disheartening to hear Steve Phelps say the playoffs are working great. Everybody loves them. I'm like, dude, you're so out of touch. You're so out of touch, or you're just a flat out liar. That was the most disappointing thing about Phoenix. I don't hate that they try new things. I love that they try new things. It's the fact that when those new things don't work, they just keep forcing it down your throat instead of listening to the fan base and trying something different or going back to another way that was working better. It is what it is. I don't know. Smokey never cheated. They just didn't have rules for what he did, says Robin Marks. That's a fact. Smokey Unick helped NASCAR write the rule book. He never once got caught cheating. No matter how many format changes Johnson was able to win them, says Chrome Diesel. Riding the coast is heels all the way, says Mark Barnum. Oh, man, that's the worst. That's the worst. Way too early. 2024 champions, Corey Hyman Trucks, Austin Hill, and Xfinity. Tough choice for the Cup champion, but for me, it's either Rowdy Busch, Martin Truex Jr., or Denny Hamlin. I like all your picks. I do like all your picks. BB, what's your biggest pet peeves people do when driving on the road? Oh, God. Like, there's several. Going like 45 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone and then seeing a huge line of traffic behind you and then still not figuring out that you need to speed up by at least 10 miles per hour. Going as fast as possible to get in front of you on the freeway and then slowing down as soon as they get in front of you. Passing you right before you get onto the on-ramp only to go slower so that when you have to merge, not only do you have to look at this car over here, you have to try not to run into the car in front of you. I don't know. There's I could go down the list. Driving in the passing lane when you're driving slower than everybody else on the freeway. Flashing your bright lights at me when I've already taken my lights to dim and you're still flashing your lights like mine are bright because you're a moron. Well, what's else? Anybody driving a truck with a Carolina squad or a West Coast squad or whatever they're called, that looks stupid. Let's see. What else can the old man on the porch gripe about as far as people driving? I don't know. Give me some time. I'll come up with some more maybe. Let's see. Way too early failure predictions. Fox NASCAR coverage, even either Harvick, unfortunately, and the playoffs, says Napa Racing fan. So, yeah, if we're not asking for much, not having it to the same track every year for the last race. Exactly, Kyle. I'm with you. But Lord knows everyone would complain if the champ clinched with 2 races to go. Not as many people as you would think, though. Like, I don't know. because it wouldn't. Here's the deal: they might complain that year, but they wouldn't complain any other year. So I would rather take that because this year a lot of people are complaining because they didn't like who won. Not they actually like Blaney. They just didn't like the system. They're like, the system doesn't seem fair now. So okay, we've been screaming the system hadn't been fair for the longest, but all right. So all of a sudden now it's a problem because the 12th seed won. I'll take Ben Rhodes' press conference as well. LOL says in between the lanes. The statement NASCAR put out at the end of the season proves NASCAR doesn't care what fans think, says one wise guy. I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. I will forever can't stand people who ride the left lane, even if you're doing 100 miles per hour. Move over if not passing. Could be a crotch rocket doing 160 behind you. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. And you have to deal with 95 a lot more than I have to deal with 95 and 85. But it's really bad on 95 and 85. It's like people have never seen a freeway in their entire life, and they're like, "Ooh, left lane. What's this for? I've never had so many lanes. I'm just gonna go float over here, like and not go fast at all." It's so bad, man. It's so bad. Not familiar with the squad thing here in not familiar with the squad thing here in Alabama. So basically, the Carolina squad. Here we go. Like you have the truck, right? The truck is tipped up like this. Like these wheels are like jacked up, and these wheels are basically lowered, and the car goes down the road like that, like it's doing a burnout. Some people have postulated it on a trophy truck suspension setup. Is the look they're going for, but really it looks so terrible in real life. Like I don't know. It's kind of phased out now because I think some states have made laws against it, but it just looked so ridiculous, so bad for your truck. Let's see. One race championship deal is stupid. You can be the best in stats 35 races prior and come in third in the final standings because you didn't have a fast car for Phoenix. Yeah, it's pretty bad. How about the lowrider tuner cars with the ridiculous camber, says Bo Darville? They don't bother me, man. My generation slammed everything on the ground, so they don't bother me because typically when you see that, they have an air system, so you can actually raise them up. They're just doing it like that to annoy you on purpose, and literally they're doing it to annoy you. So they don't get trolled by them. That's basically they're doing it on purpose. They've got airbags and they can raise them up to a normal ride height. That's called stance culture, if I'm not mistaken. BB, would you ever trade your Fiat for a crotch rocket? Haven't you ever wanted one? Says OJ and Toothpaste. If I got a motorcycle, I know nobody really wants to hear this. If I got a motorcycle, though, it would probably be an electric motorcycle, and that's just me. I'd probably they've got an electric motorcycle that goes 410 miles right now, and I've kind of got I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I've kind of got my eye on that. Not that I'll ever buy it, but if I ever bought one, that would be the one I buy. Also, like honestly, if I wouldn't buy a motorcycle, I'd just build one. I would do a bolt-on build. Like I wouldn't weld the frame myself, so it wouldn't be a true custom. But I would just get a frame and I would sort of bolt it and configure it kind of the way I would want to, because I feel like a motorcycle would have to be super personal for me to ride one. But I don't see myself. That'd be a lot of time. I don't see myself doing that. But I would totally build one from scratch, sort of scratch. Like I would use an existing frame. What do they call it? A bolt-on custom or something? Is that what it's called? A bolt-on custom? I would do a bolt-on custom. Slowing down a half mile before the expressway exit ramp, says Mr. Pearson. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Pearson. Like, God, like, okay, I've been driving 60 on this road. I've been driving annoying. I'm with you on that one. I saw a video of Ryan Blaney on his. There you go. He's out there making the rounds. At least they're out there getting out, so that's good. I agree with that. Aaron Flynn says thumbs up everyone. So yeah, if you want to give the show a thumbs up. And let's see, do I have this saved? I do. There you go. There is the merch store right there. I actually remembered to put the merch store in there for once. So there you go. T-shirts and stickers. And one day we will have the sweatshirts on there. Another project I need to get back on. Thumbs up, everyone. Getting on the expressway doing 45. Yes, for sure. I think I actually said that one earlier. But yeah, getting on the expressway, especially when they speed to get past you, and then go 45 in front of you. That's like super, super annoying. BB, can you imagine being a truck driver? I bet they see some dumb stuff all the time. Oh, God, yeah. They actually have really good YouTube channels. Truckers have some really good YouTube channels of people doing really dumb stuff. Looks ridiculous. Mostly seen at car shows. Says Dirty Death. Yeah, it's so terrible. NASCAR brass clearly doesn't love racing. They don't think it's entertaining unless it's 10 wide for the championship. Yeah, so NASCAR just wants to run the whole race, and then with like 5 laps to go, all right, let's throw a yellow and bunch them up. If NASCAR had it they would do it that way if they could do it that way. 95 is like the kiddie pool compared to this. Compared to people from up north on I-4 going to Disney. Madness. Carolina Squat was outlawed this year in Volusia County, so don't bring them to Daytona. My generation had mini trucks, says one wise guy. Yeah, so mini trucks back in the day, we slammed all those on the ground. Like, we slammed all those jokers on the ground. No doubt about it. OJ, I've got me right now that still got his Ford Ranger slammed to the ground. I'll try to take a picture of it for you guys. It's a really good looking truck. I think it's all white, and he's got like the big chrome wheels on it. Like, it's super 90s. It's so 90s, it hurts. OJ, when I was working on my sales territory, was 4 states. I saw a lot of dumb stuff on the road. Facts. Was at the Harley Electric. Harley has an electric. This is another company. This is more of like a more like a grand touring bike. BB, what about a Honda Grom? Dude, you're talking my language. I'm not even joking. OJ and Toothpaste. I have looked at Honda Groms. Back when I was working at the factory, they were $3,000. I was like, man, I need a Honda. I could just ride it around in the backyard. It would make no difference to me. The Honda Grom is okay. I would do the Honda Monkey. The Honda Monkey is actually more my speed, but you're on the right path, OJ. You're on the right path. Let's see. I watched the and in case you don't know what I'm talking about, the Honda Monkey is like slightly bigger than the Dumb and Dumber like moped that they drove to Colorado in. So I would look like God. I would look like Wario. I would look like Wario from Mario Kart on the little bike. So that would be there's your visual image. Donkey Kong going to Colorado. That would be me on a Honda Monkey. I watched the movie again, Stroke Race. Did you know that the Thunderbird used in the movie was not supposed to be released? It is a cool story. If you have not seen it, I got to check that one out, Dennis. I'll check it out. I've never understood the stance thing, like wild camber destroying your tires. Facts. For literally zero mechanical or power traction advantage, pure ugly cosmetic. Yeah, it's all about cosmetics. They do have the airbags in them, so it's not, when you see them, like they drive like that for like videos and stuff, but typically they'll put the airbag in it, so it is cambered extreme and it is going to mess up the tires, but they do have more ride height when they need it, if they're built properly. Mark Barnum, I bet, LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. BB, you excited for the new GTA 6-game trailer coming out in December? It does look like a pretty good game. I heard a rumor that the characters in there will actually age, which makes sense for that game because they only change it like every 10 years. I think the first one came out when the PlayStation 4 came out, or the 5th one, I should say, the last one that they made before this one. So imagine if those characters aged a decade in that game. So I guess the new game, they're planning on having it run for a decade too. So the characters in the game are going to age. I think that's a really cool thing to add to it. No way in hell I'd be silent. I'd be a silent motorcycle unless I wanted to die, says Bo Darville. Yeah, I mean, you're thinking about riding a motorcycle in places that I wouldn't ride a motorcycle. I'm thinking about riding that motorcycle other places. So that's why I said I'd rather have an electric one. The truck series being lowriders have always bothered me, and that's why I said I have no business being on a motorcycle. The way I would use it, it would be a 1-week adventure, and then they would be like, hey, how come Baloney Burger hasn't made a video in 6 months? Oh, he's not with us anymore. The truck series being lowriders have always bothered me. Toyota, Chevy, and Ford make better trucks than they race. I worked at Toyota with the regular cab 2-wheel drive pickup was called a pawpaw truck. Says Dirty Death. I remember when those were called pawpaw trucks for sure. We call them work trucks now, but back in the day we called them the grandpa trucks or the pawpaw trucks. I remember that for sure. How will Fox do next year? My grade predictions are Harvick, A, Boyer, D-, too many Boyerisms. Okay, Harvick gets an A, Boyer gets a D- for too many Boyerisms. Joy gets a C for the final season before Adam Alexander replaces him for 2025. So there you go, Napa Racing Fan with a way too early season prediction. That video has got to come out soon. I got to finish that one. BB, if Hendrick Motorsports offered you a full-time job to drive a hauler full-time, would you do it? I'd have to think about it. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to see the paycheck. I'd have to see the time off. I'd have to think about it pretty hard. It would be one of those jobs I would have to think about pretty hard. RCR, Hendrick, RFK. There are certain ones. There are certain ones that I would have to think about mighty hard. Ask me about the stupid stuffs on the roads. I see it every day, says Chrome Diesel. I'm sure you do. You could start a very lucrative YouTube channel if you just. I'm sure you got it recorded anyway, but if you just posted what you recorded to YouTube, my S10 is opposite. Is the opposite of slam, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, a lot of people went that route. A lot of people went sort of like the drag racing with the more curvy looking S10. A lot of people went like the drag racing route with that one. I had a Honda Mini Trail 3-speed mini bike, says Duke Chronic. There you go. The fact AJ is being demoted because of the sponsorship is ridiculous. Ty Dillon over AJ Allmendinger. No way Dillon should have a full-time seat at RC. A lot of people feel that way. Unfortunately, it's part of the sport, though. You gotta have funding these days. BB, what about the huge wings on the Honda Civics and the STI for more downforce when you're going 75 miles per hour? But mainly, you gotta put the muffler on there to let them know you're going 75 miles per hour, and you gotta hear when the VTEC kicks in. OJ says somebody who's driving a Honda right now, Honda Civic. Amen to that. Bo Darville, bike week would be insane with bike injuries in Daytona. Says say Kyle. Well, the Carolina Panthers win another game this year. Chicago fans love Carolina. Says Delmar Kaufman. So there you go. Carolina Panthers getting a rare victory for the Panthers. I have a thought about buying an electric bike, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, it's one situation where electric would make sense. So and you get I did it out, like you get 15,000 charges, and the one that gets 450 miles, I even cut the mileage like in half. You would get 10 years out of the bike before you would have to replace any of the electrical components, mainly the battery. You get like 15, I forget how many charges it was, but they had it listed as to how many charges you get. So I did my normal driving that I would do with it, and how many times I would charge it during that process. And it came out to where I would own that bike for like a decade before I had to change the battery in it. Mario Kart points is more fair than the playoffs. If NASCAR wants chaos, use the mystery items like a blue shell or bullet bill. Hey, they might as well. Don't give them too many ideas. They might do it. Well, I got here late. What's the word to the big bird tonight? Says E. Damon. Oh, you missed all the fun. We did the Snoop cereal challenge, and we've talked about basically everything in the title. But anything you want, you just holler at us and let us know. We'll jump back into it if there's something you wanted to hear us talk about that you missed. Sold my motorcycle last year. Too many close calls, says Delmar Kaufman. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. It's just the invention of the cell phone is going to be close to the death of the motorcycle. Like, that's just unfortunately the way it is. It was always bad before, but with the cell phone now, would you want to be on a road with somebody staring at their cell phone? It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's see. Now, if you want to take that bike where your bike might not necessarily want to go, which is why I'm leaning toward electric, because in theory you could camp out a week and charge it with a solar charger. I'm just saying, an electric motorcycle makes sense in that particular format. So, I'm just throwing that out there. That's why I'm saying I'm sort of leaning toward an electric bike if I ever bought one, which I'm not, but I have thought about it. I have had the idea to get a bike, but I don't trust other drivers. It's bad enough. I know my fiberglass Barbie car will shatter on impact as it is. Says say Kyle, man, where I work at, they got two Camaro, two Corvettes for sale right now, and they are absolutely cherry. Let's see, bikes, bad idea. They're I want to say one's like sort of a 94-ish, and the other one's a 77. Bikes, bad idea. I'd end up passed on, but I met a guy, got right hand turned on over the hood, head into the curb, 180K in corrective surgeries at the time. Looked like a watermelon head. No to this, says E. Damon. Listen to the bat out of hell all the time. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm old and I never went out on my bike in a fiery wreck, says Robin Marks. Honda, the power of dreams. Yeah, there you go. You got the tagline in there. I wrecked my Harley in some oil. A truck had a barrel of fresh oil dumped on the road. Unfortunately, I wear a helmet because I bounced my head. Fortunately, I wear a helmet because I bounced my head off the road, says Bo Darville. So the bandit took a spill there. So that's the old stick to the Firebird from here on out. But yeah, they're says Mark Barnum for sure. Or an electric touring bike would do the same thing though. BB, I have a Honda Civic Si 2010 with a Mugen wing and a catback exhaust. I bought it that already on the car, but I needed a truck. I'm going to get rid of it soon. LOL. Hey, look, hey, don't get rid of the Honda, man. Don't get rid of the Honda. You got to keep the Honda, dude. Gas prices are not going down; they're going up. I promise you. As much as you want that truck, as much as I love my Silverado, I hate driving that rascal. Every time I got to take it to the every time I fill it up with gas, it's painful. It's painful to watch. Let's see here. Adam Alexander, not a bad commentator, says in between lanes. Adam Alexander's good for sure. I'm with you, Chrome Diesel, but I have a NASCAR rig C4 in every engine bay and every 100 laps. Spin a wheel to see which car has its engine donated. Says Seika. BB, what is one pet you would never be interested in owning or adopting? Any type of lizard, man. Like I don't get the whole lizard thing. I like snuggly pets. Lizards, they seem like a lot of upkeep, and I don't know. I guess it's cool to watch them eat stuff and sort of like if you want to watch something and study it, like lizards and fish. If you just want to watch them and study them and see how they interact and stuff like that, but you can also do that in the wild if you're really into that stuff. I've just never been into the lizard thing, but it is what it is. But that being said, like I don't know, like I can watch a black snake all day. Like sometimes in the summertime, I'll watch a king snake. We call them black snakes up here. I'll watch a king snake just sort of do its thing. If I catch it and see it, I'll sort of study and watch what it's doing for a little while, just to see it hunt down stuff. So I don't know. I guess I could see where you're coming from with it, but I guess I don't know. I never got into the lizard pet thing. Plus they stink, man. God, they stink. Maybe a bearded dragon as far as lizards go. Maybe a bearded dragon. Get the Vet BB headers and a cam that sucker, says Kyle. I think they're both automatics though, so they're strictly for cruising. So even camming it and all that, just do it like every other Corvette owner that's 100 years old. Just put a big honking exhaust. Corvettes and Hondas are basically the same car, except the Corvette sounds good. Put a big honking exhaust on it, make it sound really good, hit it at the light every time, and then you just cruise with it. It's basically the American version of the Honda Civic, except it's got more power. But it is what it is. So we and I know I've just offended everybody, so I'm so not sorry about that. So we have a new champ this year. Anyone remember who? It's like NASCAR marketing, that era of Corvette, I should say. Once Pratt and Miller got involved with the development of the Corvette became an actual sports car again. So I do have to put that caveat in there. Pratt and Miller, the engineering group, they saved the Corvette. So shout out to Pratt and Miller. They just released a new Corvette, by the way. The new Corvette race car is out, so you guys check that out. Or maybe I should make a video about it. That's my job, right? Not y'all's. So we should have a new champ this year. Anyone remember who? It's like NASCAR marketing just goes dark. It's unreal. I don't care who it is. Promote them. It's like a big secret. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Back in the day, everybody knew who the champion was. That's how Jeff Gordon got his name and all that. Part of the reason. So I wish they would push it like they did back in the day. Mike Ora, LOL, my 87 Thunderbird Turbo Coupe gets 38 miles to the gallon. But I drive a 01 Expedition more, says Mike. Hey, that Turbo Coupe, man, that's a sleeper, bro. Like those things are fast. Like people don't realize how fast that SVO. I think it was special. It was SVO back then. Then it became SVT. I think back then it was SVO. I might be mistaken. But yeah, SVO. I know on the Mustang 4-cylinder with the turbo it was SVO. I'm not exactly 100% sure what they put on the Turbo Coupe or the Turbo Coupe. It might just be TC on that one. BB, I feel you on that, but I just got my electrical contractor license and showing up to people's houses in a Civic Si. With no ladder, people get kind of like, what the what? But I still keep getting work. Says OJ. Let me tell you something, man. Can't many people do what you do. Like if you're an electrician or a plumber or anything like that, dude, you can pull up in a bicycle. They don't care as long as you get it done. You'll be fine. But look, if you need a truck, if you feel like the truck is going to make you more money, don't listen to anything I say. I'm just here talking junk. Don't listen to anything I say. Like, look, you're an electrical contractor. You can afford the gas. I promise you. Chevrolet finds new roads and like a rock. Says in between the lanes. That's fact. They're also it's also an American Revolution. I don't know if you remember that one, in between the lanes. An American Revolution. That was like mid 2000s. Let's see. If you want a pet, then eat it. Get a flock of chickens. Says Chrome Dudes. I would have no problem. Chickens are mean. I would have no problem offing one of them. A lot of chickens are mean, I should say. Maybe I should keep the Civic and get a truck if I could financially. Says, no, don't worry about what I say, man. Do what you want, bro. Let's see here. Just seen Huffman might be going modified. Says Duke Runner. Yeah, he's going to run a few modified races this year for sure. Guilty on the exhaust, LOL. Nah, I got to have the 6-speed. I looked for about 8 months to get mine. I had to have the manual and the HUD. Yeah, so you've got the actual transaxle in yours too. These are still the generations where they got the engine is still hooked directly to the transmission. They don't have the drive shaft to the transaxle. You got the better weight balance on yours and everything. Shout out to you, Bologna Burger. I appreciate you there in between the lanes. I got a good deal on a 05 Roush Mustang with straight pipes. I was going to change it, but I actually like the sound. It's obnoxiously loud, says Bo Darvel. Hey, look, as long as it's not your daily car. I had a Camaro, a 96 Camaro Z28, and it was my daily driver for a long time before I finally got like a really cheap Mercury Sable to be my daily. But the radio didn't work. The air conditioning didn't work. It had the T-tops that leaked sometimes, and I finally sealed them with like sealer. But because I had no radio, all I could hear was the exhaust. So any long trip, I was just like, God, this was the worst decision I've ever made in my life. Make the drone stop. The droning noise. I'm pretty sure I can't even hear that tone anymore. It probably just like that wavelength flattened all the hearing on my ears there. So as long as it's not your daily driver, make it as loud as you want to make it. That was the point of that. My dad had one. It was dope. He said, LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. OJ, I'm getting flashbacks of the new South Park with the skilled laborers becoming the new billionaires. Hey, let's hope OJ gets there. I want him to pull up in a limousine. All right, I'm here to do your electrical work. What's up? Talk to my assistant. I'm going to go in here and knock this out real quick. I think I remember that. Bologna Burger says in between the lanes, talking about an American Revolution. Correct. It's SVO, but it's not branded as such. And mine's putting down about 400 horsepower. They were so nasty. People wouldn't believe me, but I tried to tell people like that. I didn't drive the Thunderbird, but I drove the Mustang. I was like, that Mustang might be the nastiest car I've ever driven at that time. The nastiest car I'd ever driven in my life. Surprised a few younger sports cars. Yeah. Those things were sick, man. Ford, that 2.3 turbo Ford, that thing was evil. Ford Drive One says in between the lanes. Have you driven a Ford lately? That's super old school. Mercedes Benz, the best or nothing. Oh, dude, you're taking me back with that one. I forgot all about that one. Have you ever been chased by a rooster? Says Delmar Kaufman. I've had a rooster run at me. I haven't been because I didn't run away. So I've had one run at me and try to test me, but I didn't. I don't know. Grandparents had a farm. I don't think they had chickens at that time. I think I was raised, or they basically just told me if a chicken runs at you, just don't move. Like it's like they'll basically chicken out. They're playing chicken, right? That's where it comes from. So I think my uncle told me that. So I never, whenever I saw anything coming at me, if I saw it first, I didn't flinch. So sometimes you don't see it, you're naturally going to flinch. But if I see it coming, I'm not going to flinch. They'll chill out. How do you like the new camera? The new camera is awesome. So I got a Lumix S5. I'm fixing to get a Lumix S5 too, eventually on the way. But that S5 is just so much better. Full frame sensor, all kinds of nerdy stuff. But it's just way better than what I had. Kind of sad to get rid of the old camera though. So it's gonna be kind of sad to throw that one up on eBay. But it is what it is. No need to hold on to it. I've got a couple of retired cameras. That's a camera that I've had for about a year. So about time to retire that one. Yeah, it was a good camera. That was the camera I was using was a Canon Mark 6. What was it? A Canon something 6 Mark II. I don't know. I gotta have it in front of me to see. But it was the Mark II version of it. It was a smaller sensor, not to get into the nerd stuff, but it did its job. I've got a couple of retired cameras that I started the deal on though, so they will stay with me. Maybe does YouTube take a lot of money from your taxes on your videos and streams? It can. It just depends on how much you make, I guess. So, but yeah, it can be a good chunk. YouTube doesn't necessarily take it. It's the federal government that takes the chunk. It depends on what YouTube doesn't take the taxes out. The federal government takes a chunk of taxes, but as far as what YouTube pays per what YouTube gets, YouTube takes a substantial cut, but it is what it is. They don't have to pay me anything, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it. I did the course of sport. I daily drive. I daily drive it, but I don't have the drone. You can hear the radio fine and the exhaust when I want to. Says say Kyle. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, my radio didn't work. That was actually the main problem. It wasn't the greatest car, but it was really fast. It had a lot of engine work done to it, and the car absolutely ripped. So it was fun from a performance standpoint. But in a lot of ways, it was like driving a race car on the road because you didn't have any amenities. There was no air conditioning. There was no you did have heat because that's how you kept the car from overheating. You turned the heat on, and what else? No radio, no air conditioning, and occasionally it would leak, so you had to seal the T-tops. So you couldn't even take the T-tops off. The windows wouldn't go down either, so that was exciting. And then every like third restart, the safety mechanism would come on, and you would have to sit in that hot car in the summertime for like 10 minutes until the safety thing reset, and then you would crank it up and see if it worked that time. LOL, ain't doing no electrical work, says OJ and Toothpaste. Either Lexus or Infiniti inspired performance, says in between the lanes. Lexus and Infiniti both definitely have inspired performance. I was a big Infiniti fan for the longest because you can actually afford them. They got rear wheel drive and you can drop an LS motor in them. BB, what's the most overrated car in your opinion? Like the biggest money pit? Mine is a Land Rover. Land Rover's up there. As far as biggest money pit, the biggest, and there's nothing wrong with as far as I know, people say they break down all the time, but I've never really seen them much. But I would have to say a Jeep. Because you see all these people, half the people that buy the Jeeps actually use them for Jeep stuff. But then you see other people that buy the Jeeps and they put like all this Jeep gear on it to make it 4 times heavier than it should be. They never take it off road. Everything they do to modify it causes some type of problem. And they get in with these other Jeep groups and they want their Jeep to stand out from everybody else in their Jeep club. So I would have to say, as far as money pits go, I think the Jeep has to be undefeated because I've seen more people do more stuff to Jeeps, and they never do anything with the Jeeps except go to Jeep meets and play their big loud sound systems. I don't see how you could daily drive a Jeep, especially with all that junk on it, and then you make it like 4 times heavier. Like one of the places we worked at, we've taken the regular stock bumpers off, and then you put the aftermarket bumper on there. The aftermarket bumper on there is like 200 pounds heavier. It's so ridiculous. Like you guys hate gas mileage if you drive a Jeep and you're modifying all this stuff. I'm like, you guys absolutely hate gas mileage, which is funny because they're always like, a lot of the Jeep people are like, oh, let's save the planet. I'm like, dude, you are probably burning more gas per capita than any other vehicle on the road, but you're all like, oh, save the animals, leave no trace. I'm like, you're driving a Jeep that gets 3 miles to a gallon. Shut your mouth. The Jeep has got to be the biggest money pit. Got to be the biggest money pit. And they look cool. I love them, but I'm just saying, I think more people spend more money on Jeeps for non-performance stuff than anything else. I just, other than just looking at it and thinking it's pretty, probably got to be the biggest money pit because the money you're spending on it, there's for half the people that have Jeeps. I understand the people that have rock crawlers and stuff like that actually take them out there, but the Jeep community knows what I'm talking about. BB to Corvette racing, I would love it. I'd go to Corvette racing in a minute. BB, any NASCAR YouTube channels you would suggest to stay away from, or robot clickbait channels you've noticed? I think they've done, at least on my feed, they've done a pretty good job of staying away from the clickbait channels. I know there's at least one out there that still exists, but I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one recently that's new. So just the same ones we always know about. Anyone buy or play the new Forza 8 worth buying? If you have Forza 7 on Xbox One, says E Damon. That's a good question. I haven't played Forza since like Forza 6, so you'd have to ask somebody else. But Forza was forever my favorite game. Just remember the Dodge commercials in the early '90s. Basically, hey, please don't test drive us. We don't suck anymore. LOL, says say Kyle. The Dodge Neon, there were some Dodge Neons that put up some impressive numbers. So they had that one figured out for the most part until they came out with the SRT, which couldn't stay together to save its soul. The old Nissan 350Z or Infiniti G35, I see so many people rice them out. Says OJ, yeah, that's one of the favorites. That gets a lot of custom. Was was it a 90s Camaro or it was a 90s Camaro, a Z28, a 96 Z28 is what I had. Hot Cars reminds me of Bobby Allison talking about driving around in the summer with the windows up and the heat on. Says Delmar Coffee. Yeah, Bill Elliott used to do it too, wrapped up in a blanket, chewing gum to keep moisture in his mouth. I never got into the Forzas because at that time I had a Saturn Sky red line, and none of those games had my car in the game. Super demoralizing. So say, Kyle, I tell you what, Forza did have the Saturn red line in one of their games. So it did eventually make it into the game. So if you play one of the later ones, it's got the red line. I'll tell you what, I'll look it up and I'll tell you which one it is because they put it in one of the games because I used to drive it. Hold up, the new Jeep pickup is so stupid. That truck's bed is so damn tiny you can't put a dirt bike in the bed. Says OJ and Toothpaste. Tacoma and the 4Runner are better than a Jeep. Says One Wise. 100% agree with you, One Wise guy. Like if you really want to do off-road stuff, the smaller Toyota trucks, the smaller Toyota truck family is the way to go. Those things will never die. As far as products that have been made, the Toyota Tacoma or the Hilux, if you're overseas, has got to be the best product taken to market ever made because I swear to God, those things will never die. They will never die. Top Gear dropped one from like a 7-story building or something. Dropped it. The thing still cranked. Dropped it from like a 7-story building. Destroyed, and the thing still cranked up. Insane. Those things are insane. BB, do you prefer a stock vehicle straight from the factory or a customized modified vehicle? If I do any modifications to a vehicle, I make sure it's going to be the exact opposite on the Fiat. The Fiat's going to be completely opposite of what I'm saying here. So just know that. But if I do any modifications to a vehicle, I like for it to be all under the hood where you absolutely can't see any of it. Now the stance, like if you lower it a little bit, people are going to be able to tell there. But I like an absolute sleeper look. Like I like for it to look completely factory, but then you do all the stuff that people can't see. Like you would have to pop the hood or get up underneath the car to see if anything was done to it. I want a 2010 Toyota Tundra, says OJ and Toothpaste. A loaded Cherokee can be 60 to 80K, says I do Chronic. Yeah, so those what are they? XJs? What the old Grand Cherokee. Not the regular Cherokee, but like the old Grand Cherokee, like those are actually cheaper, and you don't even have to do anything to them, and they're just as capable. They're pretty fun. I've seen people have pretty much good fun with those. My wife drove a Jeep Grand Cherokee in the late 90s. That's exactly the one I'm talking about. Definitely a mom car. It was pretty reliable and never went off road. Says Sonny V. Yeah, so actually, if you take those off road, they're pretty capable. Obviously, you can't rock crawl with them, but you can take them on trails. They're stock. They're pretty good. Stock Jeep is pretty capable off road as it is. You have to do some pretty serious off-roading to need an 8-inch lift with 37, says Bo Darville. I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's most of it. There are people that are really into that, and they actually do it. So I'm not talking about them, but those people know exactly who I'm talking about. There's other people that do it just for the look, and they never take it off road. And I'm just like, then they're like, leave no trace. I'm like, take your wheels off. It's funny. It's hilarious to me. My buddy took his Neon in a giant sugar sand trail. I couldn't afford the tow truck extract, so he went out every day for 2 weeks digging out wheel trenches to get it out. Oh man, that sounds 100% like Neon activity. I love every minute of that. BB, would you think of the Freedom Factory Cletus McFarland short track? I'll say the Crown Vic Racing is actually pretty good. I agree with you, Damon. I agree with you. I like old hell yeah brother. I like that guy. He's pretty good. She hauled a lot of Girl Scouts and Girl Scouts gear. It was good for that, says Sonny V. That's what I'm talking about. That particular model of Grand Cherokee, it's pretty indestructible too. So I'll give Jeep its credit on that one. That one will last forever as well. My mom had 2 of them, and both of them went over 250,000 miles on both of them. What was the best burnout of all time? Of all 3 drivers that ever did, Joey Logano, Harvick, or others, says OJ and Toothpaste. I liked Kyle Larson at Martinsville, or not Martinsville. He did it at Martinsville. He did it at Wilkesboro, too, where he turned out all the way around the track. I thought that was pretty cool. My Buff Orpington Rooster was a fighter. He chased away a cat, but attacked my dad a lot. He's in a freezer now, along with 10 more roosters, says Chrome Diesel. Second gen Tacoma and 4Runner are tough, says One Wise Guy. Facts. Tacoma will never die and has the best resale value, says Dirty Def. Tell them. Those Toyota tacos are where it's at, man. I like a sleeper or a bone stock look, says Duke Chronic. That's where I'm at. No matter what, I like it to look bone stock. No matter what's done to it, I really appreciate it if it looks stock. Those are always the best cars to have fun with. Somebody is always looking to buy an old Tacoma. LOL says Dirty Death. That's a fact. BB, would you ever go on the Family Feud with Steve Harvey? I wouldn't go on it, but I'd go watch it live. I do like that show. I wouldn't want to be a contestant. The new Grand Cherokees look like Suburbans. They do. They're sort of going with that old Grand Cherokee that had the wood paneling on the side. I feel like they're trying to go for that look. Blunderberger, I'm looking a stock car from the factory, but customized vehicles aren't bad looking. If you ask me, he says in between the lanes. Yeah, so here's I agree with you. Here's where I differ on the customized vehicles and stuff like that. If you put all that work into them, you never want them to get scratched. You never want anything to happen to them. It becomes a great big headache where like you're babysitting the car that is supposed to be a tool to take you here and there. So my particular outlook on it, and that's cool. Like to have a trailer queen, whatever they call them, that's cool. It's just not for me. I like to buy like the cheapest car with the best combination of motor to transmission like deal going on. Like that way, if something happens to it, like if I play Pong in the parking lot with my friend with a shopping cart, he hits it with his car back to me, and I hit it back to him with my car. I don't have to worry about it because I've got this piece of crap car that I never have to worry about. So I'm on the opposite end of like a show car, but customizing it, like go for it. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I like to have fun with my stuff, and so I don't want to worry about tearing it up. I like to buy stuff that's already kind of ratty looking. Let's see. Top Gear even drove that Toyota truck, and that comes from making car payments and always having to worry about something happening to the car. So I don't know. I've fallen into I'm just going to buy the crappiest car or the cheapest car I can get and hope it holds on for a long time. When it dies, I'll buy the next crappy car. That's sort of where I'm at with vehicles in my life these days. Top Gear even drove that Toyota truck into the ocean and left it there a couple of days, retrieved it, and it started straight back up. So Sonny V, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that part. BB, did you like the old NASCAR game, NASCAR Racing 2003? Is that the one that's Dirt to Daytona? The Dirt to Daytona one was basically like the best one. So Toyota is basically the Glock of trucks. LOL says say Kyle facts. BB was the British Top Gear or the English one. It was the British Top Gear. The English Top Gear has been decent. They've got a new version of it on Motor Trend, I want to say. It's got Kristen Bell's husband, Dax Shepard, and Rob Corddry from Hot Tub Time Machine. I'm looking to add a 96 Tacoma 4-cylinder to the collection now. Also looking for a 90s Toyota 4x4 van. Oh, those Toyota 4x4 vans are where it's at, man. Those are super cool. The little minivan, if I'm not mistaken. Logano's multiple 360 speed burnouts are the best I've ever seen. So Joey Logano built like a Factory 5 car, and he did some cool burnout stuff in that. So that one was pretty cool too. Grand Wagoneer. Thank you, in between the lanes. That's the word I was looking for. The Grand Wagoneer is what it looks like now. Those things are huge. Great outdoors. Grand Cherokee. He says one wise guy. Coolest name in NASCAR, says Delmar Kaufman. Dick Trickle. Dick Trickle, coolest name in NASCAR of all time. Jack Wood, second best name right now as far as current drivers go. Besides Larson to attempt Indy 500, what other IndyCar drivers you like? Mine is Colton Herta, says Chrome Diesel. He's going to retire soon, but Scott Dixon is my guy. I'm going to have to come up with somebody after that, though. So when Scott Dixon retires, I'll have to come up with somebody. But as long as Scott Dixon's doing it, that's my dude. Cops don't pull over that car. Looks like Grandma's car, says Duke Chronic. There you go. Get a big body Buick with a 454 in it. Let's roll. The Toyota Glock, it will never have a misfire. Coolest name was Dick Trickle, says one wise guy. I agree with you on that. BB, this might be Earth 2, but imagine if Carson Hocevar lost his cool after being wrecked, going back out on the track and going backwards, hitting cars at Talladega. Would that be cool? It would be cool. Back in the day, that's what everybody did that started in the EA Sports NASCAR game. They would just get pissed off and start going the wrong way around the track, and it became a skill. You would have to avoid them. So you could see them. You could see them on the radar coming up top. So you knew they were coming. So you knew they were coming. You just had to. It's sort of like playing goalie. You had to guess if they were going high or low, and that was the game. Could Carson or if someone did that would be banned? Would Steve O'Donnell promoted as great racing? Yeah, they would. You would be done from NASCAR forever, but they would put it on every single promo for the rest of NASCAR's lifetime. A van like Rutledge's, says one wise guy. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. I love the paint jobs he's got on his too. Watch a channel on YouTube, and the guy has a diesel 4Runner. That's pretty awesome. BB, what's the biggest BS ticket you ever got from a cop? Oh, no comment. No comment on that one. How did you become? All the tickets they gave me were earned. How did you become a Scott Dixon guy? I was on Instagram, on my old Instagram page, and I started posting stuff, and he just started. I didn't even know he followed me, and he just started liking stuff. So I looked it up, and oh shit, oh crap. Scott Dixon was, or whoever runs his account, at least. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to pull for that guy, because I didn't really have anybody in IndyCar at that time. Probably my last IndyCar driver was Rick Mears. So I went from Rick Mears, skip a few years, and then Scott Dixon. So yeah, that's a strange but true story. He liked like 3 of my posts, and I was like, is this the real Scott Dixon page? And I went and looked it up. It was the real one. I was like, that's awesome. Like, because I posted some nonsense, to be honest with you, and he the fact that he liked the nonsense I was posting, he's a pretty freaking cool guy. So I was like, I'm gonna pull for him. Probably can't read that one. LOL, says say Kyle. Dick Trickle had a very sad ending, says Delmar Kaufman. Yeah, he was in pain for years. He finally just he had to go. He also, there's a theory that he had a bad reaction to a new medication he was taking that put him in that state. Dixon has potential to compete for his 7th title. I hope he gets it, man. Laughing my butt off. The backwards driver answer, says OJ and Toothpaste. Come on, BB, tell us a hint on the ticket you got from the police, says OJ and Toothpaste. Nope, not going there. And I'm not going to encourage that behavior for the younger viewers. What did you think about Truex saying Hocevar was just acting upset about wrecking the 11, says Bodar? I mean, everybody has an opinion, right? So Martin Truex is welcome to his opinion. I will say this about him when he's in the Cup Series, because I 100% watched him take care of Ty Gibbs at Martinsville. So Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr., everybody that wanted to pop off at the mouth about how Carson Hocevar is driving, get ready. He's going to be in Cup next season. So I hope you stand by those words you said, because Josephus, he will plant you into the wall. He's not worried about your feelings. BB, you should go to the Indy race when Larson goes in 2023. I'm thinking about it. LOL, all tickets are earned. I ought to be young again, says one wise guy. Jock, Greg Moore were my favorite. Jock and Greg Moore were my favorite IndyCar guys, says Duke Chronic. I'm having a problem saying Jock. I want to say Jaquez, but I know it's not Jaquez. Elio, the coolest IndyCar driver. I do like Elio. Dixon follows me too, says one wise guy. That's awesome. Like he seems like pretty cool from the stuff he liked. It was like way back in the day when I first bought my Civic, and it was stuck in the ice. So I did this like fake little video about doing an ice jump in my Honda Civic. He liked it. Then he liked a couple of other of my ones after that. Then he got bored. You obviously probably got bored and moved on to the next dude. But like the fact that he liked that stuff, I was like, that's pretty cool, man. I'll tell you what, the first one he liked, I had this is back when I was doing the podcast on Facebook. I wore a Juan Pablo Montoya t-shirt on the podcast that day, and I said, this is like the coolest throwback t-shirt ever, because I'd actually forgotten I had it. And I threw that up there, and I guess because they're both Ganassi guys, he hit the like button on it. I was like, oh, that's freaking rad. I was like, I wonder if that's the real Scott Dixon. So it actually jogged my memory. I was wearing a Juan Pablo Montoya throwback shirt, and that's the first one he liked. Then he liked the one about me jumping my Honda out of the ice to go to work, at the factory. So I was like, that's pretty cool that he likes that. Then he liked one about I posted a picture of beer, peanut butter, and sandwich bread. He liked that one. So I was like, when he liked that one, I was like, all right, that's my guy for sure. Because he likes peanut butter sandwiches and beer. I was like, that's Scott Dixon is the man. One of those things. Who do you think was the best all-around driver? Indy NASCAR, I will go with AJ Foyt. Best all-around driver. I'll have to go with Mario Andretti on that one. But AJ Foyt's got to be a close second. It's like a flip of a coin. Dan Gurney has to be in that conversation. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Those would have to be the three I would put in that conversation. New Garden for you, BB. When Scott Dixon retires, I'll have to look it over. I'm not sure. BB, Scott McLaughlin. I'll tell you what. Scott McLaughlin will probably be my dude when Scott Dixon retires. BB, who do you think is the front runner to the 19 car in 2025 when Truex retires? BJ McLeod. Stone cold lead pipe lock. On Earth too. Gibbs is loving Bocephus coming up. Says one wise guy. My dad has met Scott Dixon multiple times. Said he is one of the coolest guys he's ever met. He's met literally thousands of celebs in his line of work. Says Kyle, that's awesome, dude. Like you can just tell. Like sometimes a guy can just come across. So you can tell Scott Dixon's a good dude. Do you have any IndyCar? I've got a Scott Dixon diecast actually. The year he won the championship, I bought like a 1/18 scale. Scott Dixon drives an Acura MDX Type S. Hey, there you go. That's what's up. BB, what was the best era of NASCAR racing in your opinion? Whatever you grew up watching is always going to be your favorite era. For me, it was the, I would say late 80s to probably early to mid 2000s, somewhere in there. Probably the best era. But it's forever. Whoever's growing up, it's going to be whatever era they were young in. I would guess that would be my guess. You know, Josephus did that one to a few guys. Nobody respects. Ty Gibbs has been better this year, but some people haven't forgot. Example: Joey Logano at Martinsville. Yeah, Joey Logano actually got him first. Then Josephus laid the wood to him. Laid the wood to him, not the pipe to him. Dixon is a man of the people, says one wise guy. For sure. You can't beat Scott Dixon. He is the GOAT. He is the GOAT of GOATs. As far as IndyCar goes. Dirty Def going with Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart has to be in that conversation as well for sure. BB, will Ty Gibbs get his first win in the Cup Series next year? I think he's got a good chance. It'll either be next year or the year after. Like it'll come soon. Stewart even in NHRA now. Yeah, that's a good point. Dirty Def. Anyone watching the F1? Yeah, Tony Stewart definitely has to be in that conversation. Anyone watching the F1 in Vegas this week? Be the last time. Cost the city $80 million. LOL. 8 months of construction. Residents ready to chase the drivers out. Says E. Damon. Yep. Hopefully it's a good race. Hopefully it goes well. And I really hope they can come back. It seems like a cool deal. But you can't cost the city that much money. Is Robbie Gordon still running those trophy trucks? I think at last I heard they had shut down that operation, but I'm not sure. Scott Dixon Banks with PNC Bank. That he does. What's up, Shy? Good to see you on here, my friend. BB, do you remember watching the Daytona 500 when Dale Sr. had a blown tire on the last lap and Derek Cope won? I do remember that. Not fondly, but I do remember it. Vegas is a nightmare. Dale Earnhardt Sr. found a way. Like every bad luck thing that could happen happened for him to lose the Daytona 500. Vegas is a nightmare right now. Tourists are apparently mad because grandstands are blocking them from seeing the Bellagio fountains. Oh, that's got to suck. I'd agree. My favorite NASCAR era was 88 to 07, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, that seems like a pretty solid era. Vegas has plenty of money. Yeah, they can take an L on this one. They'll make it back. Don't worry. That big spear thing they got over there. That's apparently losing money too, so that's interesting. You think Happy will be in the SRX soon? I don't know if he'll probably run a couple of SRX races, but I think he's going to run more in the Cars Tour. I think he's more interested in that. I'm with you, Bloney Burger. Kyle Busch, 2024 Daytona 500 champion. Stone cold lead pipe lock. Lock it in between the lanes. I'm with you. Sorry, I'm late to the party. Hi, BB. What's up, Jamie Schweitzer? Good to see you on here, my friend. BB, remember when Dale Sr. had to change drivers with Mike Skinner at the Brickyard 400 because of his injury, and they interviewed him and told Dr. Jerry Punch to go away, LOL, says OJ Toothpaste. Yeah, he was more hurt that he had to get out of that race car than he was more physically hurt, I think is what Dale Jr. said on the Dale Jr. download, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that might have been the episode when Jerry Punch was on there, but I think that was what was said about that. I got to meet Dale Sr. in Victory Lane for the Rolex the week before he passed. He was jokingly giving me crap for my 24 hat. Very cool dude, says Say Kyle. Yeah, he was. They played up this intimidator persona, but like if you met him when he wasn't like in race car driver mode, because he could be a dick when he was in race car driver mode. But if you met him when he was like, when his mind wasn't necessarily on racing, he was like one of the nicest people ever. Like, yeah, from everybody that's met him. Like I've told you guys a story. He never even met me, but he saw that I signed in on the list, and he sent me a signed autographed postcard. I was like, dude, I couldn't believe it. Like, I still can't believe it to this day. One of the nicest things any race car driver's ever done. So for me, so I was like, man, that's super cool. And that's actually how I became a senior fan. So yeah, he definitely had a really, really good side to him. The whole intimidator thing to me was a gimmick. So it is what it is. Who's the one driver you could see racing their prime right now in the Cup Series? They would race at least a season or two. Who would you pick? I mean, I've always wanted to see a prime Richard Petty race against a prime Dale Earnhardt Sr., but I also wanted to see them race at the same time as Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon when they're prime. So maybe not right now, but I've always wanted to see a prime Richard Petty, a prime Dale Earnhardt Sr., a prime Jeff Gordon, and a prime Jimmy Johnson all go at it at the same time. As well, if Harvick was in equal equipment, I'd like to see a prime Kevin Harvick. I'd like to see all those guys in their prime go at the same time. So that would I picked too many people, and I didn't pick this era, but I think those would be the ones I'd want to see. Hopefully, Truex Jr. gets the Daytona 500 win well before he retires. Hopefully. Same thing with Kyle Busch. If the F1 race in Vegas is a success, they might build a track at the Motorplex. They got all the other racing over there, says Duke Chronic. That would be something cool. Do you remember Jeremy Mayfield rattling Earnhardt's cage at Pocono? Yep. It sucked. BB, was Kevin Harvick your favorite driver after Senior moved on, or Junior? Yeah, I went with Kevin Harvick because I knew Dale Jr. would have plenty of support with his last name and all that. So I knew if Harvick didn't immediately start winning, which luckily he did, because the next year he had sort of a sophomore slump. He did win one race the next season, though. But I knew if Kevin Harvick didn't win, he was going to have a harder time because he was directly replacing Senior. He didn't have the right last name, so I went with Kevin Harvick. So I've been a Kevin Harvick fan ever since. Obviously, I stayed loyal to RCR, but I kept pulling for Harvick as well. So he's actually the first race car driver who I pulled for, who I saw him have his whole career in front of me. So that's basically a first for me, because obviously Earnhardt didn't get to retire. Kyle Busch waving, and I didn't get to see the first half of the first 3/4 of Richard Petty's career. Kyle Busch waving down the lady in traffic and signing her hat. To me, is the best drivers being cool to fans moment. Says say Kyle. Yeah, I think for the most part, a lot of people that you would be surprised that a lot of people get hate on. Like Joey Logano, super awesome with the fans. Like Denny Hamlin's super awesome with the fans. Like a lot of people that people hate on. Bubba Wallace, super awesome with the fans. A lot of people that people typically boo or hate on or whatever you want to call it, they're actually really cool with the fans. So it's like I said, a lot of it is just for show as to who people hate and whatnot. Kyle Larson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Sr., Jimmy Johnson, and Cale Yarborough. Yeah, heck yeah, throw him in there too, OJ. In their primes would be dope. Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome. Sounds like a video game somebody should probably make one day. Predictions on Justin Haley 2024 season. Up in the air. I don't know how good Rick Ware Racing. I don't know how serious they're going to, how good they're actually going to try to be. It's just a crapshoot over there. Jamie Schweitzer, not a bad prediction, says in between the lanes. BB, you think of Ford or Toyotas will have some early season issues with their new designs next year? There's a chance, right? There's a chance they get out of the gate slow. Maybe the same thing happens that happened like this year, where Chevrolet starts off the season fast, and then the other two swoop in and figure out their cars. I could see that happening. Or the car could just be so good that they come in there and immediately run gangbusters. So you never know which way that's going to go. And they could completely miss the design like Chevrolet did with their first version of the Camaro in the Cup Series. BB, what was the reaction when Kyle Busch wrecked Hornaday in the Texas truck race and got suspended? I was so bummed out. I was a huge Ron Hornaday fan. And obviously I like Kyle Busch because of his first name. That was something that really just bothered me. The only other time I felt like that is when Dale Sr. wrecked Terry Labonte, because I really liked Terry Labonte as well. And when Sr. wrecked him at Bristol, I was like, man, that sucks. Just one of those deals. So Richard Petty, has probably signed more autographs than anyone in NASCAR. Who is second in your opinion for autograph sign? Probably Dale Sr. It would have to be Dale Sr. or Jeff Gordon. David Pearson should be in there also, says Delmar Kaufman. Yeah, you can throw David Pearson in there as well, but we did get to see David Pearson and Richard Petty at their peaks, so you can already make your decision about that one. But yeah, for sure, you can throw him in there as well. Joey Logano kills me. I can't stand him on the track, but he is so funny and so nice when he's on Sirius XM or basically anything. You see him off the track. For sure, that new Ford design has me curious, says Shy. Yeah, it's either going to be really good or really bad. Jarrett Companies to sponsor Allgaier in 2024 did not move on with the Josh Perry to Stuart Haas Racing, says in between the lanes. So yeah, I did see that today. So pretty good looking car that they showed in the one I saw too. NASCAR likes to take away if a team does too good. That's a fact. He was joking on the morning drive about how many people come up to him and say, I hate you, but you're really nice. And he's like, how are you supposed to respond to that? Thanks, I guess. Laughing my butt off, says Kyle. Just rattling his cage, says in between lanes. Yeah, he was just trying to rattle his cage. BD, why did Casey Kane and Mark Martin have only one good rookie? Have only a good rookie season with HMS, but after that we're so average and not good. I don't know. Why did Ryan Newman have a good first year with RCR and then just never got it going after? I don't know. You never know. It's a hard thing to keep it going. Got a left field question. If anyone knows the answer, has Mike Helton been enshrined in the NASCAR Hall of Fame yet? I don't think he has. I don't like, but he might have though. So I don't remember him being, but I might be totally wrong on that. I don't like Logano as a driver either, but he's a fantastic commentator. Logano is the only driver that moves people like an artist, or if he wrecks them, it's clean. The rest of them seem to get caught up. I think KB says E. Damon. That's a fact. If Joey wants to wreck you, he's typically not going to take himself out. So I will give him that. BB, what do you think of Cup drivers racing in the Xfinity Series? I love it. I love that they have a cutoff for it too, though. A lot of good drivers in Cup did that in the 90s. I have no problem with it. The people, I don't understand the people that complain about it, to be honest with you, but they're welcome to their opinion. I like to see the guys that are coming up race against the guys that are already there, because that's how you test yourself. So I do like to see them test themselves. As long as, like, I do have a problem with what Kevin Harvick was doing, racing both series full time. I do have a problem with that. Let the other guys win their titles and championships, but 5 or 6 races from a Cup Series guy, I think that's good for the sport. Let's see. Right after I saw Joey in the booth calling Xfinity races, I couldn't help but like him, says Sonny V. I try to tell people, man, he's a good dude. With AI now, I might see an AI race with all the legends. That would be pretty cool. BB, will SVG go back to back in Chicago this year? I don't know. It's going to be hard. Having Vietnam flashbacks of Logano wrecking Byron at Daytona. I'm sorry, at Darlington, says Kyle. I've been a Joey fan since meeting him at the Cornelia Home Depot the day before I turned 19, the day before he turned 19, and before his first Cup win, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, if you've seen the 2011 Charlotte video, that was the first time I met Joey Logano. So he's definitely a really cool dude. Number 20 Home Depot driver, Joey Logano. Jeff Gordon said if he didn't win that race at Atlanta in 1993 against Mark Martin, Dale Sr., and Dale Jarrett, no one would have cared. OJ and toothpaste. Oh, yeah. I got you. I got what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. Cornelius, that is, says Jamie Schweitzer. Can you name a classic race I should watch? Nothing to watch tonight. 1988 Holly Farms, I want to say. Go to the 1988 North Wilkesboro race. The ending of that race is amazing. So check that one out. It's either the Holly Farms race or it might be the First Union. Just look up the one that Rusty Wallace won in 1988. That's a good one to watch. In between the lanes, I've always watched Kyle Busch in the Xfinity. And I tell you what, Iceberg just put out a list of good ones. So if you've already seen that one, maybe go check out that list of races. Iceberg just made a video about it. So check that one out. I always enjoyed Kyle Busch in Xfinity. And Truck's always got to root for Rowdy while driving in the Cup, of course, for sure. Logano punting Byron was one of the funniest adios sins I've seen. Just made me laugh, says E. Damon. One Wise Guy 2005 Daytona 500. BB, before you go off stream, Earth 2 predictions next year. I'm going to go with Justin Haley. I don't think Rick Ware Racing is going to get any better. So I'm going to go with Justin Haley wins Earth 2. That's not a bold prediction at all, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm seriously wrong. I hope Rick Ware Racing gets really good, and I hope Justin Haley does really good because I think he's a good driver. But that's going to be my pick. That's going to be my pick for that one. All right, looks like we got to the end of it, so I'm going to let y'all go. I will check y'all next Tuesday, so have a good rest of your week. Peace. Snoop Loops.